Hey, are you ready for a break? Let's sit down for a while. We walked far today. The last few scans can wait a little. Come, sit next to me. Let's enjoy the view and talk for a bit. What do you think of this place? I like the mellow colors, and the night has such a warm glow to it. I've never been on a moon before. The planet hanging in the sky seems far too big, right? I wanted to stop here to take a look at the valley below. The plain down there doesn't have a name yet, but of all the locations we've considered so far, it seems to be the best candidate for the new colony. Can you imagine people here in a generation or so, breathing air that does not exist yet, walking around without spacesuits? As soon as the terraforming satellites are done churning the atmosphere into something breathable, something friendly, something that wouldn't instantly kill us with its blind indifference to our needs. It's a strange thought that the only thing that separates us from a bustling city right now is time. And by then we'll be sleeping away the space between the stars again, while on our way to the next empty world. Out here, time feels like an illusion. The stars above, they don't belong to us. They're ancient, untouchable, and yet they're all we have to hold on to. You become so small when confronted with the vastness of space. People think it's difficult living like this, away from civilization. But for me, leaving it all behind is sort of a relief. In the vastness of space, all our little petty human problems seem so insignificant. Very little matters against the backdrop of infinity. You can just let it all go. I prefer it this way, I think. Empty, devoid of life. It's hard to say why. It doesn't make much sense. Why should I be so enamored with places so hostile? This place would kill my body in a few moments if I were to remove my helmet right now. But it nourishes my soul. No one has been here before us. No one. This little moon has no history, no past, contains no memories. When I walk these empty worlds, I feel like I can be myself the way I would have been without any past mistakes or disappointments. The solitude of space is like a reset. It makes me feel free, liberated. It's getting darker. Can you see any familiar constellations? That one, right there, is Orion. But you have to rotate it in your mind to recognize it. And somewhere over there, more or less, is Earth. Everything is in a different place, a different perspective, a truly alien sky. I remember the first time I looked up at the night sky from Earth. Really looked, I mean. It was a clear summer night, and I could see the Milky Way stretching out before me like a river of diamonds. Laying in the green summer grass and looking up was a strange feeling, like falling upwards into that vast expanse. I knew there were people up there, other worlds we'd colonized, and I wanted to be one of them. I decided right there and then I wanted to go off-world. The colonization program was still very new when I joined. Only a handful of planets had been terraformed. That's almost 300 years ago. Cryosleep was also relatively new back then. So was the expansion program. I was one of the first. It was sold to us as a great sacrifice. We were called heroes, leaving everything behind to search out new worlds fit for colonization. And I suppose that was true. My first sleep lasted almost 20 years. And when I woke up in orbit around that first empty world, my little cousins back on Earth were almost middle-aged, and I had aged a few months, perhaps. The next time, my cousins were old, with grandchildren, while I was still the same. And then they were dead, and their grandchildren left me a few short messages telling me about their own families. With each new awakening, I hoped for a few lines from family, but after my cousin's grandchildren died, there were nothing. We had grown too distant already. For me, 3 years had passed. 3 years awake, I mean. The rest I spent frozen and unaging in transit in the great void between the stars. Everyone I have ever known on Earth are long gone by now. I still wonder sometimes if anyone back home is looking up at the same stars, thinking about me, wondering where I am, if I'm still alive. I might have some distant descendant back home who knows of me from studying their own lineage in school or something. Going on this mission, the decision was so final. It was a one-way trip into the future, and that was definitely part of the appeal. You know, I think we're all running from something. I certainly was. I wanted to leave it all behind so badly. I wanted to run from all of humanity. I prefer to keep them at a distance. I still don't know how they enjoy each other. People are too much for me. You and the others on the ship are just enough. A small handful. You are my found family, and we work so well together. Just us, tightly knit, on a mission. I do like that. I get the irony though. I escaped humanity in order to find new homes for them among the stars. As we travel from dead world to dead world, humanity sprouts in our footsteps. It follows us, but we always stay ahead of them. And if we ever rejoin, we will not fit in, I think. We are almost ancient artifacts, the products of a bygone era. I can tell every time I talk to Mission Control. Even the way they pronounce words have changed. English is different now, after 300 years, naturally. And I suspect that they try to speak in a more archaic way than usual when they talk to us. They mention technology, political parties, whole countries that are new to me. And cultural references change, of course. No one remembers the things I used to like. Whenever we are briefed on historical events that have happened while we've slept, there are more wars. There have been a few truly terrible ones. There are also more reorganizations, of course, and plenty more natural catastrophes. It's not the same world I left anymore. The expansion program itself has changed hands so many times. It's a wonder it's still there, really. You know, for the first few transits, we had contingency plans for all sorts of situations. One of them was first contact. I've been to well over 40 worlds now, we never found any trace of alien life, and I don't think we ever will. We had to spread ourselves out into the universe in order to be able to look up at the night sky and know that there are others out there. So much time has passed. We do not belong anymore. I feel like we are so different from the rest of humanity by now that we have become the aliens. Whenever I wake up from cryosleep, I like to stay offline for the first 2 days, not just to regain my strength, but to get a feel for the place I find myself in. What does this one feel like? This new, strange, lifeless world. The colors, the surfaces, the light, they all have a different feel to them, a personality of sorts, even if it's just barely noticeable. And here we are to change it all. After the first 2 days, I go online, and I never know what I will find. It's always jarring, don't you agree? Well, you've only done it a few times, so I guess the changes haven't been too big yet, from your point of view. The only way you could catch up to us is because your vessel was newer and faster. One day, we might wake up from cryosleep just to discover that our next location is already colonized, that in the time we've slept, humanity has developed so much that they can travel faster than light, and we will be made obsolete. Either that, or everyone else will be gone one day. I've seen enough changes in human society to have a wider perspective than most, and I see total collapse as a real possibility. The next time we wake up, everyone else might be gone. When I've enjoyed my 2 days of radio silence and then turned the communicator on, there might be nothing. No messages, no signal, no trace of whatever happened. Then we would be truly alone. And there is always this moment of uncertainty right before I reach out and establish that contact. Just one long moment where I do not know if there will be anyone at the other end. So far, there has been, but a little more distant, a little more alien to me each time, a little less like the society I left. You know what's supposed to happen to us in the end, right? We turn around. We head back where we came from. Not all the way, but back to a colony of our choice. One we paved the way for. Early retirement in a world that has passed us by. But I don't want to turn around. Not yet. Maybe never. I want to continue. When we're done with this place, it's on to the next one, and the next, and the next. For as long as our old equipment will hold up, we will go on further and further into the void. We should get back to work. Your scanner still has some charge left, right? Enough for a few more hours? Good. Let's go then. We don't want humanity to catch up to us, do we?